Good morning, everybody. I want to start this video out by reading two scriptures. We're going to be in chapter 12 of the book of Luke, and I'm going to be reading verse 2 and 3, and I'm going to correlate this to what's going on today in the United States. So, chapter 12, verse 2 and 3. Verse 2 says, "For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known." Verse 3. "Therefore, whatsoever you have spoken in darkness shall be heard in the light, and that which you have spoken in the ear in closets shall be proclaimed upon the housetops." Now, why am I reading these particular scriptures today? Well, I'm reading these scriptures because of what's been going on in the United States lately with all of this corruption that we're seeing with the tax dollars and the social services, the daycares, the food programs, and this and that. And of course, it's been focused mainly on Minnesota, but now it's been found in Ohio, and they're looking in California. I'm sure it's in a myriad of states throughout this country. But what the point I'm trying to make is what you do in the dark, folks, will be dragged into the light. You may get away with something for years. You see these cases where someone had murdered somebody back in 1974 or 75 or something like that, and they went on to live their life for 40, 50 years. And then all of a sudden, DNA has came into fruition. It has gotten better and better and better. And then they had this DNA now, this family DNA, where they can go through your family tree and focus on narrowing it down to you. So they're catching people decades and decades later. What you do in the dark will be dragged into the light. Don't ever think, God doesn't see what you're doing. God doesn't hear what you're saying behind closed doors, because he is. And we are seeing a prime example of this today in Minnesota and going to be in other states. I believe this is going to snowball into the worst fraud case in the United States ever as we come upon our 250th anniversary. I believe this will make the other fraud and corruption cases that's been down through our history peanuts compared when this is all said and done. But this is a good thing for everybody, because our tax dollars will finally be used where they need to be used, and the money will go where it needs to go instead of other people's pockets, while we scrape by day to day and they drive around in Mercedes and live in mansions. Just remember, what you do in the dark will be dragged into the light. God bless.